3 nights ago, at precisely 2:47 a.m. Beijing time, something extraordinary happened at the Wenchang Space Center that NASA doesn't want you thinking about too carefully. While the world's attention fixated on Artemis 2 sitting on Launch Pad 39B in Florida, China quietly rolled out a rocket that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the new space race. And what makes this unsettling isn't just the hardware, it's the timeline. Welcome back. The vehicle they moved under cover of darkness is called Long March 10, and if you haven't heard that name yet, you will. Because in approximately 150 days, this rocket will fly for the first time, carrying aboard it a spacecraft that represents something unprecedented in human spaceflight. Not a test article, not a prototype, a fully operational deep space vehicle named Mengzhou, the Dream Vessel, capable of carrying 6 astronauts beyond Earth orbit. Let me put that in perspective. When Apollo 11 launched in 1969, you were there. You remember the anticipation, the Cold War stakes, the feeling that humanity stood at a threshold. That launch happened after nearly a decade of preparation, hundreds of test flights, incremental steps building toward one singular moment. China is attempting to compress that entire timeline into 4 years. 4 years from now, in 2030, 2 Chinese astronauts are scheduled to walk on the lunar surface, not orbit it, walk on it, and the clock is already ticking. Here's what happened in the past 6 months that you probably missed. Last June, at Jiuquan Launch Center in the Gobi Desert, Chinese engineers conducted what they called a zero-altitude escape test. At 12:30 p.m., solid fuel boosters ignited while the Mengzhou capsule sat motionless on the ground. 20 seconds later, it had climbed to target altitude, separated cleanly from its escape tower, deployed parachutes, and touched down on airbags. Total elapsed time, 2 minutes. That's faster than the Apollo escape system, faster than Orion, and it worked perfectly on the first attempt. 2 months later, different test. The Lanyue lunar lander, the vehicle that will actually touch down on the moon, completed its landing and takeoff validation, not in simulation. Physical hardware, real engines, actual flight control systems. They're not developing this technology anymore. They're refining it. Now, here's where it gets interesting and slightly uncomfortable if you're watching from the United States. NASA's current plan, the Artemis program, calls for 2 separate launches to get astronauts to the lunar surface. One SLS rocket carries the crew in Orion, another carries the landing system. They dock in lunar orbit, transfer crew, descend, return, transfer back, come home. Complex, expensive, dependent on multiple successful rendezvous operations in an environment 240,000 miles from any possible rescue. China's approach? Identical. 2 Long March 10 rockets. One carries Mengzhou with crew, one carries Lanyue lander. Rendezvous in lunar orbit. 2 astronauts transfer to the lander. Descend, return. But here's the crucial difference. China is flying their first orbital test of this entire system in 6 months. NASA's equivalent test, not scheduled. The Artemis 3 mission, America's return to the lunar surface, is currently planned for late 2028, possibly 2029. Do the math. China could conceivably beat the United States back to the moon by testing their hardware earlier, iterating faster, and maintaining a schedule that doesn't depend on annual congressional appropriations battles. But wait! There's more happening in 2026 that reveals the scope of what China is building. In August, the Chang'e 7 mission launches to the lunar South Pole, the same region where NASA plans to establish Artemis Base Camp. Chang'e 7 isn't just landing, it's deploying a hopping probe, literally a small vehicle that will bounce across the surface searching for water ice in permanently shadowed craters. Why does this matter? Because whoever finds accessible water resources on the moon first has a significant advantage in establishing permanent presence. Water means oxygen, water means fuel, water means you don't have to bring everything from Earth. And China is putting hardware on the ground this year to start that search. Then in December, if the schedule holds, the Xuntian Space Telescope launches. You know Hubble? The telescope that revolutionized our understanding of the universe with its 2.4-meter mirror? Xuntian has a 2-meter mirror but with a field of view 300 times larger than Hubble. It will co-orbit with China's Tiangong space station, periodically docking for servicing and upgrades. No expensive repair missions required. Just bring it inside, fix it, send it back out. It's an elegant solution that Hubble never had. Now, I want you to think about something that nobody's really discussing publicly. In 1961, when President Kennedy announced we would go to the moon before the decade ended, the Soviet Union had every technical advantage. First satellite, first animal in space, first human in orbit, first spacewalk, first probe to another planet. The United States was losing, badly, and then we won. We won because we made it a national priority, committed resources, accepted risk, and moved faster than anyone thought possible. What do you think happens this time? Does America respond the way we did in the 1960s, or have we become comfortable assuming we'll always lead in space? I'm genuinely curious what you think. Write your answer in the comments because this isn't a rhetorical question. The decisions being made right now in 2026 will determine who shapes humanity's future beyond Earth for the next century. One more thing. Last month, China filed paperwork with the International Telecommunication Union for 200,000 satellites. Not a typo, 200,000. That's more than 10 times the entire Starlink constellation. Whether they actually launch that many is almost beside the point. By filing first, they've claimed the orbital slots and radio frequencies. Everyone else has to prove their systems won't interfere with China's claimed spectrum. It's the ultimate land grab, except the land is orbital space, and the rules were written before anyone imagined numbers this large. This matters because space isn't infinite. There are only so many useful orbits, so many radio frequencies, so many optimal trajectories to the moon. And right now, while we debate budgets and timelines, someone else is claiming them. Thank you for watching. If you think the new space race will define the 21st century the way the first one defined the 20th, let me know in the comments. Until next time.